Hi everyone. So welcome to my weekly meal plan. If you haven't listened to this episode before, each week I just share what's on my meal plan for the upcoming week for my family, maybe to help give you some inspiration to get your meal plan together, give you some ideas for some things you'd like to make. I meal plan every week because I think it just makes my life a lot easier. We waste less food and I don't have to worry about what's for dinner every night. I do use a regular meal rotation, so I'm not always making new things. It's kind of the same types of recipes that I repeat over certain frequencies, but I do add in some new things once in a while when I can or when I have time. So this week's meal plan starts on Saturday, April 16th. I actually don't have a meal plan or a meal to share for that day. Because me and my daughters are going to be going into the city to see a Broadway show. They got tickets for Christmas, so we will be eating while we were in the city, and my husband and son will figure out something to eat, but I won't be cooking that day. So Sunday is the first day I will be cooking, and Sunday is actually Easter. So for Easter, I am going to be making always juicy baked ham from allrecipes.com. I'm also going to be making special Italian Easter pizza, which is from allrecipes.com. That is one of my favorites. It's so good. It's like basically taking like all the bad meats like sausage and ham and pepperoni and salami and cheeses and all this stuff and basically jamming it into a baked dough. It's so good. My grandmother used to make like the real thing when I was a kid, and this is just a recipe that I found, and it's the closest I could find to something similar to what I remember my grandmother making, but it's just so good. So, and I only make it for Easter, so I'm making that. I think I said it was from allrecipes.com, but either way, all the links to any of the recipes that I mentioned can be found on my website. I forgot to mention that at the beginning, at lolasfrugallife.com. So if there's any recipes you hear that I mentioned, like an actual website where you can find it, those links will be on the website with this week's meal plan. So I'm also going to be doing creamy cheesy spinach, which is something we always make for all the holidays. I don't have a link for that recipe, but you basically just take 2 packages of frozen chopped spinach, 16 ounces of small curd cottage cheese, a 1/4 cup of butter, a 1/2 pound of American cheese, just like it says cubed, but I actually just buy regular American cheese, 1/2 pound, and I just kind of tear the slices up and put it in there. 3 eggs beaten and a 1/4 cup of flour, and you put it in, and an 1/8 teaspoon of salt. You put it in the crock pot in that order and let it cook on low for 4 to 5 hours. So that's just like a holiday recipe that we have for pretty much every holiday. I'm also going to be doing best green bean casserole from allrecipes.com and Chef John's mashed potatoes from allrecipes.com, and then some of my family is bringing other stuff to go with the meal as well, so we will have plenty of food on Easter. For Monday, we are doing hot dogs. We do that once a month, so no recipe to share for the hot dogs. We just boil them up and serve them with hot dog buns, of course, but I'll also be making air fryer what do you call it, like not hash brown, like home fry type potatoes. I basically take potatoes, peppers, and onions, cut them up, like dice them up, toss them together with a little olive oil and salt and pepper, and toss them in the air fryer and just cook them up until they're like a good cooked, they're like kind of tender. And then I just put them on the hot dogs, like an Italian hot dog kind of thing, which if you're not familiar with Italian hot dog, I found out one time that I think it's like a New Jersey, New York type thing. So not everybody knows, because someone asked me what they were. But anyway, so basically you put the hot dog on a bun and then you put like the peppers and onions and potatoes on top of the hot dog, and it tastes so good. So that's why I make the potatoes, peppers, and onions to go with it. And then I'm going to do a can of vegetarian chili to go with it also, because it just goes good with it. But then also one of my daughters doesn't eat hot dogs, so she'll put like vegetarian chili on the hot dog bun and then the potatoes and peppers and onions and make a meal of that. So that's Monday. For Tuesday, I'm doing sheet pan chicken fajitas. We always do some type of Mexican themed meal on Tuesdays. So the sheet pan chicken fajita recipe is from foodnetwork.com, and it's just your typical chicken, peppers and onions and olive oil and seasoning baked on a sheet pan, and then we just serve it with the flour tortillas. Wednesday, we're doing baked salmon. I buy the pre-frozen, not pre-frozen. Yeah, I guess it is pre-frozen, but whatever. I didn't mean to say it that way. I buy the individually frozen salmon pieces, and I just defrost them. I put them in a baking dish. I brush them with olive oil, and I sprinkle them with the McCormick Smokehouse maple seasoning and bake them in the oven at 450 degrees for 12 minutes, and they come out perfect, and it's like the easiest meal. And then I'm just going to serve them with egg noodles and then a bagged salad, like the kind you get, at the grocery store that has all the toppings and everything with it. So that can just be thrown together really quickly. For Thursday, I'm going to be making easy clam chowder. I just made this, I think just like a couple weeks ago, but everybody really liked it. So I'm going to make it again, and it was really pretty easy. It's from damndelicious.net. So if you look at the recipe, it calls for I guess a bay leaf and fresh parsley and dried thyme and things like that. I think I skipped some of the ingredients, but just like the basic recipe was really good. And it was really pretty quick and easy to make. And buying the canned clams really wasn't that expensive. So I thought it was like a relatively inexpensive meal, to have clam chowder. And I just bought like those, what do they call them? Those crackers that you put in the clam chowder. Oh my gosh, what the heck are they called? I'm going to look because I have them right in, oyster crackers. I was going to go actually look in my cabinet because I couldn't remember what they were called. But yeah, the oyster crackers. I just bought like a box of them, and we served them with the soup, and it was plenty filling for dinner. A lot of times when I make soup, I'll do grilled cheese on the side too, but I thought the clam chowder with those crackers was plenty filling. And that's all we had for our meal that night. I didn't make the grilled cheese. So the last meal on this week's meal plan is for Friday, which is 1 pot creamy pesto chicken pasta. That's from budgetbites.com. Bites is spelled B-Y-T-E-S. I have been making this kind of frequently lately, only because it was like a newer recipe. So I just kind of started making it a lot, and I'm sure it'll probably fade off after a little while after we get tired of having it so much. But it's just like a simple 1 pot dish that has penne and chicken breast and spinach and pesto. It's pretty easy to make, and it tastes really good. So the whole family kind of like that. So I'm doing that again this Friday. So that is the last meal for this week's meal plan. I hope this was helpful to you. Don't forget, you can always email me with any questions or suggestions at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at lolasfrugallife. And don't forget, you can also find the blog posts for each weekly meal plan with links to any of the recipes that I mentioned. That's on my website at lolasfrugallife.com. We also have a private listeners group on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/lolasfrugallife. And if you enjoy the show, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen from. And I would really love it if you would screenshot the show and tag me on Instagram so I can see you're listening. Also, if you can please take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast, that would be really helpful to me. Those ratings and reviews are what help get the show boosted in search results when people are looking for something similar to this podcast. Also, there's a link to financially support the podcast in the episode details if that's something you're interested in. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a really awesome day.